policies around that. I think Zakir will be a nice continuation in this topic. Zakir will share his experience from the reality of farmers in developing countries, having to deal with disaster risks, with climate change, with the hope of building, sustainable development and resilience for themselves and their communities. Zakir, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much to give me the opportunity to the important session and the second highest global forum, I believe, still. So let's go to the field. I'm going to share the screen. So now, development is not risk neutral. Development always have to have the side effect, if not pseudo effect. It is one of the criteria for development policy formulation and implementation. But at the local level, if we consider the local people as a farmer, now who are the farmers? I am talking about the small farmers, family farmers, as Ozoy and Pefi said, that they are, we are the persons who use far less amount of arable land and supply the most food to the globe. Whereas we produce far less emission and we create less risk to the earth system. So how development creates risk, new risk, and add new risk to the locality? Let's have some example from our water sector. We have a canal, Shimulbanga, historical canal, but it was going to be dead without policy intervention. So our community children, they jumped in to the development initiative. And this is how our children are being integrated to the development process. And it attracts the local government, and they feel something shy, so they did the renovation, and we had the canal better. But the food go down, they needed a bridge on one end of Shimulbanga, the canal, and they had the capacity, or they had the knowledge or something, or they didn't care with the canal. So they made the bridge half of the width of the canal. So what will happen, or what is happening, that the water is logging in and our crops are being destroyed, and when water goes down, when water recedes, the silt that water brings in to the canal, it is being deposited. So the canal is going to be dead again. So let's go to the crop variety. During cedar, the local variety, they survive 10-foot water source, but the high input varieties, they didn't survive. But while development practitioners or development policymakers, they try to introduce flood resilient variety, they never consider Kalamani, our local variety that survived the high tide of water source. Let's go to the homestead gardening. We had multi-storied gardening system around our homestead.
that protected and our house, but during cedar, most of the plants, they fell down just because of the saplings in the nursery. They chopped down, they were told, or we had been learned in the university class, that you have to chop down the taproot of saplings. Why? Because then it will grow quickly and you will have the money quickly. But it fell on our house and someone was injured. So the tree is becoming burden then. Let's go to the housing. The corrugated sheet is being considered scientifically that it may injure the people mostly during cyclone or storm. But I see, say 13 years after, I see hardly any policy related to eliminate corrugated sheet in the cyclone prone area. Development is not equal at the national level and the global, local level. At the local level, development is haphazard. It's on the paper mostly, and I'm not talking about Bangladesh only. I'm talking about Asia. I mean the total developing country, even developed country, they are going to adopt our mismanagement policies. When development funding agencies, they fund the bridge, sometimes the bridge becomes political. Who has the power at the local level, they have the bridge in front of their house. So it doesn't matter, does it fit here or not? Sometimes the bridge is being built, is being left half constructed. We had to make it usable with our local resources. About farmers, if you produce a broom, simply a broom, you have the right to fix the price. But we produce food, we don't have the right to fix price of our food because of a lot of causes, capacities, and yeah. Okay, leaving all that behind, what the farmers, local people needs from the policy actions, not commitment, not design, just action, that farmers have to be a stakeholder from policy formulation, planning, implementation, monitoring, and redesign the development. That's why we are working with the school children to formulate a local development guideline that will guide the international policy, that will guide the national policy, regional policy, to inform the local people about the risks from the development. So the policymakers have to consider the risk of the development planning, implementation, and policy. Thank you very much, Valeria, and thank you all, the audience.
Thank you, Zakir. I think it's, I always enjoy listening to you, because it's very, you're bringing it like some very clear examples of what is the reality on the ground, and how, if only we had used local knowledge and local solutions, we could have made development more risk informed, we could have built resilience. And sometimes it's things you wouldn't really think about. Sometimes it's things that they're quite straightforward for those who are on the ground, but they're not taken into consideration. The political dynamics in place, and where development investments go and who's benefiting from them is it's something that it's a challenge, and it's something we often don't acknowledge as much, but he's an important player in ensuring that there is an equitable distribution, not just of resources, but also actions and activities to build resilience.